Hi there, I'm Danny Flexen and welcome to the latest edition of SecondsOut ReFLEXions. We're here every Monday, 4:30 p.m, usually on the dot. And this week I got into a bit of a heated debate on Twitter. I know, unlike me, right? Always happening, to be fair. Lost a couple of jobs from things I've put on Twitter in the past, which some people already know about and I'm not going to go into now. But this time, thankfully, I still remain in gainful employment unless, my bosses are watching, there's something I don't know. But this one was about women's boxing, and I'm not always sure whether to get involved in these debates because I'm hardly, filled with feminist credentials. But I don't know, hear me out. And I don't want to go too strong on my viewpoint because I really want to know what people out there think. Because opinion was split on Twitter about this. So basically, I've seen a lot of hype recently about a potential fight between Ebanie Bridges and Shannon Courtenay. Now, I don't follow either of these people on Twitter, but Ebanie Bridges seems to be all over my timeline regardless. Now, a lot of people might say, why don't you just mute her then? And that's a fair point, but not the one I'm making on today's vlog. So, I have no problem with two people at an early stage of their careers who've both got good fan bases fighting each other in an undercard fight or even a chief support on a non-pay-per-view show. Absolutely no problem with being a female fight. I've always been a big supporter of women's boxing. Probably interviewed more female fighters than most, other interviewers out there, I would imagine, both on Boxing News and now with Seconds Out. So having established that, I'm the good guy in the scenario, I basically put up a tweet that said something along the lines of, I haven't got it in front of me, but it was basically saying, is it really a step towards equality in female boxing, as in equality towards the men's game, for a fight between two women to be based predominantly on their looks? And that's responding to the fact that a lot of the people calling for the fight between Bridges and Courtenay seem to be doing so based on the content of their tweets, because they both, they fancy both of them, or one or both of them, basically. Attractive, both blonde, both young. That seems to be the focal points for the majority of people on Twitter calling for the fight. That in itself irritates me. I don't think it's good for women's boxing for a fight to be sold purely, not even purely, but predominantly on that basis. I think if female boxing is, and this is the aim, certainly for the majority of women who box, to be treated with the same respect as the men's game, and that's dubious respect, I realise, but certainly there is a disparity at the moment between the two, then it needs to be based on athletic performance and entertainment value. I understand that building a profile is not just about how good you are in the ring. If it was, there's several fighters out there that, on the male and female side, that wouldn't be as big as they are now. However, for all the people that responded to the tweet and said things like, well, a lot of women watch AJ box because he's good looking. That may well be true. I'm not a woman. I'm sure he's a great looking guy. But the fact is, AJ is where he is because of an Olympic gold medal, a unified world heavyweight title reign, second one now, obviously after regaining the belt. And yeah, he might be good looking, and a portion of his audience, and that may be largely female, could watch him for that reason. But it's a drop in the ocean compared to his overall stadium selling persona and profile. It's not the thing that's got him to where he is, and it's certainly not the thing that he's been marketed on. And that's the other issue that comes in, because Bridges herself is seeming to stir up these opinions among the supporters of the fight. She's the one tweeting about, oh yeah, you've got to watch two good looking girls get on, and someone said something like, oh yeah, you could charge an entrance fee just for the weigh-in. Bit of a kind of lewd comment. And she's like, yeah, we could, yeah, great idea. Things like that. And some of it's tongue-in-cheek, and I understand she just wants a fight and to make money and to raise her profile, and there's nothing wrong with any of that, and I don't blame her for using what she can to do it. But I think if a fight's made predominantly to satisfy that type of fan base, then we're not really pushing women's boxing in the right direction. Now, as I said earlier, I'm not sure how qualified I am to say that, because I'm not a female boxer, and I'm not sure if I'm the one who should be kind of defending the respect element of their side of the sport. However, some female boxers did seem to agree with what I was saying. And I want to know what people out there on the whole think. I'm far from a prude, and I'm far from, against people promoting themselves either. And my favourite boxer of all time is Nassim Hamed, and he's a huge self-promoter. He was about far more than what he did in the ring, and I've got no problem with that. I just think that women's boxing has fought such a long, winding battle for respect over the years, from, in the UK, from Jane Couch all the way till now, the likes of Katie Taylor and Clarissa Shields, obviously overseas, and people here as well, the likes of Terry Harper and Savannah Marshall doing really well, and whoever I've missed out as well, Eddie Scottney, Chantel Cameron, etc., so I don't annoy anyone. Team GB female squad, as I've just said, doing an interview with Sandy Ryan just now, is probably the best it's ever been. More competition for places ahead of an Olympic year than we've ever seen. So we've worked, I say we, they've worked so hard to get to a level where they're almost viewed with the same respect as the men's game. I mean, with a lot of people, they probably already are, but the audience as a whole, maybe not just yet, because the depth isn't there in the pro side of the sport, certainly. I think this sort of thing, appealing to the lowest common denominator is what I'd call it. I think this sets the calls back. And a lot of people say, oh, well, fun police, it's all a bit of a laugh. Yeah, it is, but there's a wider thing at play here. And I think I think most boxing fans would want the female sport to be taken seriously and to be judged on its merits of athletic performance and in-ring entertainment. I think if you reduce it to who looks the best in a pair of boxing shorts and a crop top and just let them get it on, then, why not go the whole hog? Chuck a load of mud over them and let them wrestle like the old days. We don't want to go back to that, and certainly not in boxing anyway. I think you keep those two sort of things separate. Maybe I'm talking crazy, and that's where you guys come in. I really want to know what you think about this, because it got my goat. I've been thinking about it ever since. Well, it's only yesterday, but still, I've been thinking about it for a long time. So let me know what you think. Is this harmless bit of fun and good for both girls and it raises their profile? Is it in fact good for women's boxing and it raises the profile of that sport? Or is it female boxers should be judged mainly on their talents in the ring and their personalities, if you like, outside of it, rather than what they look like? Let me know what you think. It'd be really good to hear. And I should point out before I go as well, I've not seen anywhere that Shannon Courtenay has tried to drum up interest in this fight or responded particularly positively to the overtures of Ebanie Bridges. I just want to point that out, because it does seem to be a pretty one-sided push for this fight as it stands. And I know there's other fights in the offing for Shannon that may be more rewarding from an athletic perspective. But yeah, that caveat being put in, let me know what you think and I'll respond to some of the comments. I'll be back Thursday, 4:30 PM for FLEXpectations, and the following Monday for the next ReFLEXions, same time. Really appreciate it, and I'll see you all soon. Cheers.